The final warning. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Earth Defense Force flagship Prometheus, her reflection ghostly against the backdrop of distant stars. The holographic display before her showed the translated message they'd intercepted, the smoking gun they'd spent decades searching for. The Galactic Alliance wasn't just stifling humanity's growth. They were systematically preventing any species from reaching their full potential. "Have you verified this?" she asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, head of xenolinguistics, nodded solemnly. His dark eyes carried the weight of their discovery. 17 separate confirmations. The encryption was complex, but the message is clear. The Alliance has been manipulating developing species for over 10,000 years. They don't just guide civilization. They deliberately stunt technological growth to maintain control. Sarah's hand clenched involuntarily. Humanity had suspected something like this since their first contact 50 years ago. The Alliance's patronizing attitude, their insistence on guiding human development, their careful regulation of technology sharing, it all made sense now. "Show me the proof again," she commanded. The holographic display shifted, showing countless archived communications. Each one detailed the Alliance's careful manipulation of various species, including humanity. They had sabotaged breakthrough discoveries, engineered political conflicts to slow progress, and maintained a careful illusion of benevolent oversight. "What about the others?" Sarah asked, thinking of the dozen other emerging species currently under Alliance protection. "All subjected to the same treatment," Marcus confirmed. The Nexari were close to developing quantum consciousness technology before mysterious accidents destroyed their research facilities. The Klaviks were approaching breakthrough propulsion systems before political upheaval, engineered by Alliance operatives, set them back centuries. Sarah turned away from the display, looking out at the vast expanse of space. Earth gleamed in the distance, a blue jewel unaware of the magnitude of this revelation. Humanity had played along with the Alliance's rules, all while building something they couldn't detect or understand. "Send the signal," she ordered. "Protocol awakening is now active." Across human space, hidden quantum transmitters activated. The message was simple. The truth is confirmed. Begin Phase 1. For 30 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. While accepting the Alliance's guidance, they had secretly developed technologies that defied conventional understanding. Every human innovation shared with the Alliance had been carefully designed to seem primitive while containing hidden complexities that only human engineers could truly maintain. In research labs across Earth and her colonies, scientists began implementing the final stages of Project Ascension. The true nature of human technological advancement had been carefully concealed behind a facade of apparent compliance with Alliance standards. Ambassador Michael Chung stood before the Alliance High Council, his expression carefully neutral as he delivered humanity's message. The Grand Chamber, with its soaring crystal spires and hovering platforms, was designed to intimidate. Today, it would witness something unprecedented. "Distinguished members of the High Council," Michael began, his voice carrying across the chamber. "Humanity has been honored to participate in galactic civilization under your guidance." The familiar platitudes rolled off his tongue one last time. High Counselor Zextra, her crystalline form shimmering with barely contained condescension, interrupted. "We sense there is more to this address, Ambassador. Please, do not waste the Council's time with pleasantries." Michael allowed himself a small smile. "As you wish. Humanity hereby announces its complete withdrawal from all Alliance treaties, trade agreements, and technological exchanges." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated protests and exclamations. Michael continued, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Furthermore, we are activating the dormancy protocols in all human design technologies currently in use by Alliance members." "Preposterous." Zextra's voice crackled with energy. "Your technologies are primitive adaptations of Alliance standards. You have no such capability. I suggest you check your quantum communication networks," Michael replied calmly. You'll find they're already beginning to degrade. You see, what you dismissed as primitive was merely the surface. Every human innovation incorporated into Alliance infrastructure contains elements that only we fully understand. The chamber fell silent as reports began flooding in. Across Alliance space, systems were failing in ways their best engineers couldn't comprehend. What they had dismissed as simple mechanical solutions contained quantum elements that defied their understanding. "This is an act of war," Zextra declared, her crystalline form now pulsing with angry red light. "No," Michael corrected. "This is an act of independence. We know about the archive, High Counselor. We know how you've manipulated every emerging species for millennia. Humanity isn't declaring war. We're simply leaving. But we're ensuring you can no longer use our innovations to suppress others." Before the Council could respond, Michael activated his personal quantum transmitter. His form began to shimmer with a light that none of the Alliance's sensors could analyze. "We've already gone far beyond what you think we're capable of. Your sensors haven't detected it because you don't know what to look for. Humanity isn't just leaving the Alliance, we're leaving this level of existence entirely." As Michael's form faded from the chamber, the Council received reports of human ships across Alliance space seemingly vanishing. Quantum tracking systems couldn't detect them. It was as if they had shifted into a dimension that Alliance science couldn't comprehend. In the chaos that followed, only High Counselor Zextra understood the true magnitude of what had happened. Humanity hadn't just outmaneuvered them, they had transcended them, and in doing so, they had ensured that the Alliance's carefully maintained system of control would never be the same. The age of suppression was over. The age of true advancement was about to begin. Silent exodus. The first signs of trouble appeared in the medical sector. Dr. Lyra Vex-Terry, the Alliance's leading xenobiologist, stared at her failing equipment with growing horror. The quantum-enhanced medical scanners, a technology that the Alliance had improved from primitive human designs, were shutting down across every major hospital in Alliance space. "Try the backup systems," she ordered her staff. But deep down, she already knew it wouldn't help. The elegantly simple human medical interfaces that had seemed so crude now revealed their true complexity. They weren't just tools, they were integral parts of a vast, interconnected system that only human engineers fully understood. In orbit around Centaurid Prime, the Alliance's largest shipyard fell silent. Fleet Commander Thorne watched helplessly as the automated construction systems, based on basic human manufacturing principles, stopped responding. The holographic displays showed cascading failures across every production line. "How long until we can restore operations?" he demanded. His chief engineer, a Nexari with 12 brain clusters, trembled slightly. "Commander, we don't know how. The human systems we integrated, they're not just shutting down. They're evolving, changing into something we can't understand." Across Alliance space, similar reports flooded in. Transportation networks faltered. Communication systems developed strange anomalies. But it wasn't chaos, it was calculated. Human technologies weren't failing, they were transforming, following a predetermined pattern that no Alliance scientist could decipher. In a secure chamber deep within the Alliance Central Archives, Data Master Cattell accessed the most classified records of human technological integration. What he found shook him to his core. The humans hadn't just built backdoors into their systems, they had created an entirely new form of technology, disguised as simple mechanical solutions. They hid quantum entanglement in hydraulic pumps, he whispered to himself. Dimensional folding in basic electrical circuits. We thought we were improving their primitive designs, but they were letting us build our infrastructure on foundations only they could control. On the frontier world of New Genesis, Dr. Elena Martinez worked quickly. As one of the few humans who had chosen to remain behind, she had a crucial role to play. The Alliance's primitive human settlers were actually key operators in humanity's grand strategy. "Remember," she addressed the gathered Alliance officials, "we're not here to harm you. These instructions will help you maintain basic functions of the systems we're leaving behind. But understand, this is only the beginning. She handed over a data crystal containing carefully selected technical documentation. It wasn't sabotage, it was education. Humanity was leaving breadcrumbs, showing the Alliance a path to true technological independence, but only if they were willing to learn. In the Galactic Core, the Alliance High Council convened an emergency session. The chamber, once a symbol of their absolute authority, now seemed less imposing. The floating platforms stuttered occasionally. Another simple human innovation, revealing its true nature. High Counselor Zextra's voice carried a note of desperation. We must locate their new dimensional frequency. They cannot have simply vanished. A junior scientist, barely containing his excitement, interrupted. Counselor, we've been analyzing the pattern of technological transformations. It's not random. The humans, they're teaching us. Teaching us. Zextra's crystalline form flickered with confusion. Yes, each system failure reveals a new principle of physics we never considered. It's like they're showing us how limited our understanding has been. In the outer rim, where Alliance control had always been tenuous, other species began to notice something strange. Their own technological development, long stifled by Alliance guidance, was accelerating. The humans had done more than just leave. They had broken the chains of suppression that had bound all developing civilizations. The Klaviks, their quantum consciousness research long abandoned, found new pathways opening in their understanding. The Nexeri discovered that their propulsion theories, dismissed as impossible by Alliance experts, suddenly seemed achievable. Aboard the last visible human vessel, the Legacy, Captain Sarah Chen recorded a final message for the Alliance. Her ship hovered at the edge of known space, preparing to join the rest of humanity in their dimensional transition. We could have fought you, her message began. We could have used our understanding to destroy rather than depart, but that's not our way. Instead, we leave you with a choice. The technologies we've left behind contain the seeds of true advancement, not just for you, but for all species you've suppressed. She paused, looking at the stars that would soon appear different to her transformed eyes. Your control was based on limiting others' understanding. We're showing you a different path. Every system failure is a lesson. Every transformation is a doorway to greater knowledge. You can choose to learn, to grow, to finally become what you could have been millennia ago. As the Legacy prepared for its final transformation, Alliance sensors detected something unprecedented. The space around the ship wasn't just bending. It was opening, revealing layers of reality their science had never imagined. The ship disappeared, but its wake left ripples in space-time that would take Alliance scientists centuries to fully understand. Humanity hadn't just escaped. They had shown the galaxy that the boundaries of possible were far beyond what the Alliance had permitted anyone to imagine. In their wake, they left not chaos, but opportunity. A chance for every species to break free from the chains of enforced ignorance and reach for the stars with newly opened eyes. The awakening. On the Nexeri homeworld, beneath the crystalline spires of their science academy, something extraordinary was happening. Chief Researcher Ixel's neural clusters pulsed with excitement as she studied the failing Alliance technology. What others saw as breakdown, she recognized as revelation. Look at these patterns, she gestured to her colleagues, her tentacles weaving complex symbols in the air. The humans didn't just build these systems, they encoded fundamental truths into their very structure. As they break down, they're revealing principles we were never allowed to see. The quantum processor before them, once a cornerstone of Alliance-approved computing, wasn't simply failing. Its degradation followed a precise sequence, each step exposing layers of technology that the Alliance had actively suppressed. The Nexeri, with their natural ability to process multiple dimensional calculations, were among the first to recognize the gift humanity had left behind. In the Klaviks territories, a similar awakening was taking place. Their hive mind researchers, long restricted to approved areas of study, discovered that the degrading human technology contained blueprints for advancing their consciousness transfer capabilities. What the Alliance had dismissed as simple mechanical interfaces turned out to be channels for quantum consciousness manipulation. High Counselors Extra received the reports with growing dread. It wasn't just the loss of human technology that threatened Alliance control. It was the awakening of every species they had carefully suppressed. The carefully maintained hierarchy of galactic civilization was unraveling. "We must contain this," she declared to the emergency council session. "These lesser species cannot be allowed to." She was interrupted by an urgent communication. On the main display, a Clavix hive queen appeared, her crystalline form radiating an authority that had never been seen before in their primitive species. "We are no longer accepting Alliance guidance," the hive queen announced. "The humans showed us the truth, not through words, but through the very technology you forced them to disguise. We see now what we can become." Similar declarations followed from across Alliance space. The Nexari announced breakthroughs in dimensional physics that the Alliance had deemed impossible. The aquatic Mare Carey demonstrated propulsion technologies that defied traditional understanding. Each advancement came through studying the failing human systems. In the Alliance Central Archives, Data Master Cattell made a discovery that shook him to his core. Hidden within the base code of every human-designed system was a message, written in the language of pure mathematics. "The universe is not a hierarchy to be controlled, but a mystery to be explored. Look beyond the boundaries you've been given. The path to advancement lies not in suppression, but in collaboration." The message was elegant in its simplicity, yet devastating in its implications. The Alliance hadn't just lost control of their technology. They had lost their fundamental justification for existing. On the frontier world of Asteria, Dr. Elena Martinez watched as her final project reached completion. The few humans who had stayed behind weren't just teaching. They were catalysts for a transformation that would reshape galactic civilization. "Your species is ready," she told the gathered representatives of various developing races. "The Alliance tried to convince you that advancement must be controlled, measured, restricted. Humanity is proving otherwise." She activated a holographic display, showing the cascading changes spreading across known space. It wasn't chaos, it was evolution. Each species was finding its own path to advancement, using the hidden knowledge humanity had woven into their primitive technologies. The Mare Carey discovered that their natural ability to manipulate quantum fields had been artificially suppressed by Alliance protective technology. The Clavix realized their hive mind could extend far beyond physical limitations once freed from Alliance restrictions. The Nexari found that their multidimensional thinking had been artificially constrained by Alliance protocols. In the Great Library of Centauri Prime, young Alliance scholars began questioning everything they had been taught. The carefully maintained archives of proper technological development were revealed to be elaborate constructs of suppression and control. "They weren't protecting us," a young Nexari scholar declared, her neural clusters bright with understanding. "They were imprisoning us in a cage of enforced ignorance." As the days passed, the Alliance's grip on galactic civilization continued to weaken. But there was no collapse into chaos, no descent into warfare. Instead, species after species began discovering their true potential, following the breadcrumbs humanity had left behind. High Counselors Extra stood in her private chambers, watching as the grand edifice of Alliance control crumbled. The humans hadn't needed to destroy them. They had simply shown every species the truth of their own potential. A message arrived from the Clavix Hive Queen. "We have decoded another layer of human technology. There are dimensions beyond what the Alliance permitted us to know. We are going to explore them. You cannot stop us now." The message ended with a mathematical formula, one that made Zextra's crystalline form vibrate with recognition. It was the same pattern they had detected when human ships vanished into dimensions beyond Alliance understanding. The humans hadn't just escaped. They had left the door open for others to follow. In the vast expanse of space, the ripples of humanity's departure continued to spread, not as waves of destruction, but as pulses of awakening. The age of suppression was ending, replaced by an era of unlimited potential. And somewhere, in dimensions beyond Alliance comprehension, humanity watched as their final gift to the galaxy unfolded exactly as planned. Shattered stars. The Alliance capital world of Eternus had always been a symbol of unchanging power. Its crystalline towers and quantum-locked structures were designed to last millennia. But now, those same towers pulsed with uncertain light as the technology maintaining them continued to transform. In the High Council's emergency bunker, deep beneath the surface, Zextra faced the unthinkable. The Alliance's mighty fleet, once the ultimate symbol of their authority, hung useless in orbit. The human-derived components that had seemed so simple, so primitive, were now revealing themselves to be integral to everything. "Show me the latest reports," she commanded. The holographic display flickered, another system showing signs of transformation. The images that appeared made her crystalline form dim with despair. The Mercury, once considered barely capable of interstellar travel, had adapted human quantum field technology to their natural abilities. Their ships now moved through space in ways that defied Alliance understanding. The Klavik's hive minds had expanded beyond physical boundaries, creating a new form of consciousness that spread across entire star systems. "We've lost contact with the outer rim sectors," and Abe reported. "Not because of communication failure. They're simply not responding to Alliance authority anymore." The Nexeri, in particular, had undergone a stunning transformation. Their natural multidimensional thinking, combined with the revealed secrets in human technology, had led them to develop technologies that the Alliance had long deemed impossible. On the frontier world of New Haven, a gathering unprecedented in galactic history was taking place. Representatives from dozens of developing species met not in subjugation to Alliance authority, but as equals. Dr. Elena Martinez, one of the few humans who remained, watched with quiet satisfaction. "The humans didn't just leave us technology," announced Ixel, the Nexeri chief researcher. "They left us understanding. Each piece of their technology contains layers of knowledge, teaching us not just how to build, but how to think beyond our imposed limitations." The Mercury delegate, a being of shifting liquid crystal, demonstrated their latest breakthrough. "We've discovered that what the Alliance called primitive human hydraulics actually contained patterns of quantum manipulation. By studying these, we've learned to extend our natural abilities far beyond what we thought possible." In Alliance space, the changes were even more dramatic. Centuries of carefully maintained technological hierarchies were collapsing. Species that had been relegated to subordinate roles were suddenly advancing beyond their former master's understanding. A young Alliance scientist named Ven made a discovery that sent shockwaves through what remained of the Council. "The humans," he reported, his voice trembling with excitement, "they didn't just hide advanced technology in simple forms. They created a completely new paradigm of technological development." He displayed his findings, complex mathematical patterns embedded in every piece of human technology. "These aren't just operating principles," he explained. "They're teaching tools. The more we study them, the more we understand. It's as if they created an entire university of knowledge and hid it in plain sight." The Alliance's response to this crisis revealed just how deeply the humans had understood their adversary. Every attempt to restore control only accelerated the process of revelation. Security protocols designed to lock down advanced technology instead triggered new transformations. Attempts to isolate contaminated systems led to the discovery of even more hidden knowledge. In the Klavik's collective, the changes were particularly profound. Their hive mind consciousness, studying the patterns left in human quantum processors, made a breakthrough that redefined the possibilities of existence itself. "We have touched the edges of what the humans discovered," the Hive Queen announced to the gathered species at New Haven. "There are layers of reality beyond what the Alliance permitted us to see. The humans didn't just escape into them. They mapped them, understood them, and left us the keys to follow." The Alliance's last attempt to maintain control came not through force, but through desperate negotiation. They offered to share all their previously restricted technology, to lift all development constraints. But it was too late. The species they had suppressed had already glimpsed something far greater than what their former masters could offer. Dr. Martinez received a quantum transmission from Admiral Chen, now existing in dimensions beyond conventional space. The message was simple. Phase 3 is complete. The garden is growing. She smiled at the metaphor. Humanity hadn't just broken free from Alliance control. They had seeded the galaxy with the tools for true advancement. Each species would find its own path, develop its own understanding, evolve in its own unique way. The Alliance hadn't just lost control of their subject species, they had lost control of reality itself. The boundaries they had so carefully maintained were dissolving, revealing a universe far vaster and more wonderful than they had ever permitted anyone to imagine. In orbit around Eternus, the Alliance's mighty warships hung dark and silent, their crews watching in awe as former primitive species sailed past in vessels that defied conventional physics. The age of control was over. The age of exploration had begun. New dawn. 10 years after humanity's departure, the galaxy had become unrecognizable to those who once claimed to rule it. The Alliance's grand chambers on Eternus, once the seat of absolute power, now served as a museum, a reminder of an age of suppression that no one wished to repeat. In the dimensional space beyond conventional reality, Admiral Sarah Chen observed the changes through sensors that would have seemed like magic to her younger self. Humanity had not merely escaped, they had evolved. Their understanding of the universe had expanded beyond anything the Alliance had dreamed possible. "They're ready," she announced to the gathered human leaders. The holographic display showed not just three-dimensional space, but layers of reality extending in directions that defied traditional physics. "The seeds we planted have grown into a forest." Across the galaxy, the transformation had exceeded even humanity's most optimistic projections. The Nexari had developed technologies that allowed them to perceive and manipulate 11 dimensions simultaneously. The Clavix hive mind had expanded into a collective consciousness that spanned entire galactic clusters while maintaining individual identity. The Mercari had transformed their worlds into liquid quantum computers, processing information through the fabric of space itself. On New Haven, now the central hub of galactic cooperation, Dr. Elena Martinez prepared for humanity's return, not as rulers or saviors, but as equals in a community of truly advanced civilizations. The Great Hall, built with technology that existed in multiple dimensional states simultaneously, hummed with energy as representatives from hundreds of species gathered. "We believed the Alliance when they told us advancement must be controlled," Ixel, the Nexari leader, addressed the assembly. "Humanity showed us that true progress comes not from control, but from freedom to explore, to fail, to learn, and to grow." The Clavix Hive Queen, her consciousness now spanning vast distances, added, "They hid the keys to our liberation in what the Alliance dismissed as primitive technology. Each failure of their systems was a lesson, each breakdown a revelation." High Counselors Extra, one of the few Alliance leaders who had chosen to embrace change rather than resist it, stood before the assembly. Her crystalline form had evolved too, incorporating understanding gained from studying human quantum patterns. "We thought we were protecting the galaxy by controlling advancement," she admitted. "Instead, we were stifling the greatest revolution in consciousness our universe has ever known." The assembly fell silent as a new presence made itself known. In the center of the hall, space itself seemed to fold, creating patterns of light and energy that extended into dimensions most species were only beginning to perceive. Through this dimensional gateway, the first human ships in a decade returned to conventional space. Admiral Chen stepped through, her form shifting between states of matter in a way that demonstrated just how far humanity had evolved. "We left not to abandon you," she announced, "but to show you that the boundaries you accepted were illusions. The Alliance built walls. We showed you they were shadows. The human ships that emerged were unlike anything the galaxy had seen. They didn't so much fly through space as exist in multiple states and locations simultaneously. They represented not just technological advancement, but a fundamental reimagining of what was possible. Dr. Martinez activated the final phase of humanity's grand plan. Across the galaxy, the remaining human technology underwent its last transformation. But this time, instead of breaking down, it evolved, integrating with the new technologies developed by each species. The result was a network of knowledge and capability that transcended individual achievement. The Alliance sought to prevent chaos by enforcing order. Admiral Chen continued. We showed you that true stability comes from embracing complexity, from allowing each species to find its own path to advancement. The gathering watched in awe as humanity demonstrated what they had become. Ships moved through dimensions as easily as sliding through water. Matter transformed with thought. Energy and consciousness intertwined in ways that redefined the possible. But more remarkable than the technology was what it represented. Humanity had not returned to rule or guide. They had come back to join a community of equals, each species contributing its unique perspective to a greater understanding of existence. The former Alliance territories had transformed into a tapestry of advancement, each species developing along its own path while sharing discoveries with others. The rigid hierarchy of the past had been replaced by a network of mutual growth and discovery. This was always the true potential of galactic civilization, Dr. Martinez explained to the assembly. Not a pyramid with self-appointed leaders at the top, but a web of connections, each strand strengthening the whole. As the gathering concluded, representatives from across the galaxy stepped forward to share their discoveries. The Nexari demonstrated technologies that could reshape solar systems. The Klaviks shared consciousness expansion techniques that opened new realms of existence. The Mercari presented theories that unified quantum mechanics with dimensional physics. And humanity, watching from their position of dimensional transcendence, saw their plan reach its final fruition. They had not just freed the galaxy from Alliance control. They had sparked an explosion of advancement that would continue for millennia to come. The age of suppression was over. The age of infinite possibility had begun. And somewhere in the vast expanse of dimensional space, the first human explorers were already looking toward the next horizon, wondering what other boundaries remained to be broken.